Welcome back everyone to Spoiler Warning featuring myself, Tom Colohue. We have a pretty in-depth show tonight. Our main story is going to be pretty much all-encompassing and cover a hell of a lot of ground, but it's all going to be about the Wyatt Sicks. I want to be very clear on this one. This show is called Spoiler Warning. There is going to be in-depth, exclusive information about the planned proceedings, character traits of the Wyatt Sicks, and that needs to be respected at this point because it's called Spoiler Warning for a reason. There will be spoilers, be aware of that. Now, what I'm going to be sharing is in-depth information about the direction of characters. It is about the perception of characters and the intention of characters. There is quite a lot of backstage information here, but in addition to this, there's also a lot of personal interpretation and information that came directly from Bray Wyatt in interviews about Voodoo background, and particularly the interview with Sam Roberts after Elimination Chamber 2017. If you've not watched it, it's very much worth your time, and I do want to be very clear about that one. So there is a lot of information we're going to be sharing there, but there's also a little more information that we'll be sharing as well over the course of the show. As we get through all of that, when it comes to the Wyatts, we're going to be talking Jacob Fatu, Becky Lynch, Juliet, Natalia, and a little bit on AEW's TV deal. They will not be our main stories, but there's plenty of additional information coming for those who are not particularly invested in Wyatt Sicks. We will also be answering as many questions as we can about this, but be aware, when it comes to information like will they be on SmackDown tonight and what will they be doing, I don't have that information. This is not short-term what's happening tonight information. This is what's happening over the next 3 years sort of information. So strap in and stay tuned. Say hello everyone. If you're in the chat, jump in, say hi, let me know you're here. Also, we have 64 people here, 22 likes, a couple of thumbs ups do go a long way, 3 more gets us to 25, and that very much helps the growth of the channel as well. I want to say a massive hello to everyone who's already here. There's quite a lot of you. Brad, Daniel, Joe, Juan, Sid, Mike, Jason, David, Marcel, Leon. Always good to see you guys. Alex Bliss, Gamer0809 says howdy to you. Sean's here. Spiderboss says it's so frustrating for us Rhea and now Liv spend more focus on Dominic. It's not. The man is gorgeous. Michael is here as well. Says hi Tom. Welcome everyone to the show. Sid, we will be talking about Natalia shortly. Just mentioning the Wyatt Sicks right there. Drive-by saying Zero News posted that The Rock is returning tonight. Don't believe it, but have you heard anything about the Bloodline at Madison Square Garden tonight? The Bloodline will definitely be at Madison Square Garden tonight. As regards The Rock, I don't have that information. Now, Zero News, if they've seen the rundown, which has been released by now, would of course have that information, but it would be a credit to them and a pretty good sign that they're actually getting those sources if that is true, because Triple H keeps that information very close to the wire now, closer than it has been previously, certainly. That said, Zero News has formed for The Rock. The Royal Rumble did not end with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock having a stare down. It ended with Sami Zayn and a chair. Hello Adam, good to see you. Xavier says, how's your day, Tom? Doing very well, thank you. We'll give a little bit more information as regards the house soon because, guys, I own a house. Present tense. Dylan, welcome. Bailey, welcome as well. Welcome DM Hunk, welcome Velocity, welcome Noob, good to see all of you. Welcome Abigail, welcome Sai as well. Good to see so many of you in the chat already on 82 people watching. That's a pretty good number. I do want to get a little bit higher before we jump into Wyatt Sicks, but if not, I will be there in the next couple of minutes. Good evening to you too, Eric. Doing well. Welcome Keenan. Welcome Khalid. Good to see you. Welcome John G. DM says, who do you think should go over at SummerSlam would make more sense, McIntyre or Punk? With the championship not on the line, I have McIntyre going over because Punk is still injured. Bear with me. Because Punk is still injured in a way that really pokes fun at everything that happened with AEW quite recently, with Punk still being injured and losing a championship for it. Awkward in every way. Thank you, Bailey. Thank you, David. Thank you, Michael. There's going to be more details of that shortly, but let's just say I spent the last 2 days peeling wallpaper, creating Australia on my wall with stripped paint, and going through a garden that's basically just a bonfire at this point. But hey, if it hasn't been weeded in 5 years, someone's got to do it. Valencia, thank you very kindly for becoming a channel supporter. Every channel supporter has access to the full range of members-only videos. They will be relaunching next month with a bit more as we go through. A tour of the house, for example, will be in the members-only section and will be relatively brief, but it will, of course, be before the kids move in. So it needs to be very clear of the information that will be shared there. The new studio, as I set it up, I'll be recording lots of information. That will be a members-only video. And of course, there will be other members-only backstage, making of stuff. We do not keep news behind paywalls. Velocity says, Tom, I just want to say the Wyatt Sicks are the goats of massacres. That's a band name. They'll do whatever it takes to strike fear in all the WWE superstars' hearts. Not quite what they're going for. Mike says, hey, welcome, Mikey. Sean says, Dijak revealed on his Twitter and Instagram WWE never negotiated with him and WWE stonewalled him, never made an offer to him and told him at the 11th hour they would not be renewing. He said he was slated for a program for the WWE Championship but got called up. More on that later. Jason says, hello Tom, have you heard anything about WWE bringing bad blood back? That's a tongue twister. I have not and have been unable to clarify that is a plan. Spider-Boss says, did WWE have any plans for Awesome Truth's tag team title reign? Seems WWE forgot about the world tag team titles after Mania. Judgment Day got back the titles. Pretty much forgot about them, yeah, pretty much moved on from the entire thing. The Awesome Truth were not the first choice to win the championships, but let's just say something fell through at the last minute. Chris Leclerc really wants Dakota Kai to win. John says, hey Tom, do you think Alexa Bliss is returning? Nope, I know she is. Roger says, is TNA, the system, the best group in wrestling? I have no idea what that question means, Roger. Can you clarify? Drive-By says, congrats on the house, Tom. Hard work pays off. Smash those likes, guys. Thank you, Drive-By. 107 people watching, 44 likes. And, Sai, not only a big hello and a big thank you to you, but a thank you for being so incredibly generous. A donation and says, here's to Colohue and Family Towers. Happy new house. Thank you, Sai. I appreciate you for that. Please do remember that you can hit like on Sai's comment as well and that donation just to show your support for continued donations as well. I do want to say a massive thank you to Sai, even just as a reminder for the graphics currently around my face. You make around my face look good. Valencia says, hi Tom, happy to subscribe as I enjoy your shows. Thank you, Valencia. I appreciate you for that. Juan says, hey Tom, according to Dave Meltzer reported even though Warner Brothers would like to keep AEW, he's heard TK will not take Warner Brothers' low offer. More on that shortly. Justin says, congratulations. Well, thank you, Justin. Dylan says, who do you see winning the match between LA Knight, Logan Paul and the third man? Still very much LA Knight for me. Chris says, good evening, Tom. Hope you're doing well. Doing well, thank you, Chris. Good to see you. Joey says, hey, Tom, do you know why WWE didn't offer Dijak a new contract? More on that shortly. Eric says, on Asuka's Kana-chan TV episode, Asuka was doing post-surgery training because she is post-surgery. DM says, Seth could win the world title because they want Gunter's title win to be as big as possible. Plus, Seth versus Gunter is more of a SummerSlam... what's a fetting match? To my knowledge, the plan is for Damian Priest to return because Judgment Day. Sean says, if you haven't checked out Joe Hendry's interview with Chris Van Vliet, go check it out. Valencia says, are Dijak and Ricochet definitely leaving or the WWE, or is there any chance of a last-minute change of heart from either party or WWE? More on that shortly. What I will say about Dijak, no. But there is more. Joey says, I'm surprised WWE didn't want Dijak back. I thought he was a Triple H guy. More on that later. Spider-Boss says, one positive from Raw this week was the Zelina and Liv segment. I wish Liv would interact more with the Raw women's division. The plan is to have her more involved now because now they're on the rotation and it's Liv's turn to defend, whereas last month it was Bayley's turn. As I've mentioned, I think several months ago now, I want to say 6-7 months, the WWE are rotating women's championship defences outside of the good old-fashioned Big Four. Marcel says, happy for you and the family. Thank you, Marcel. Appreciate you. Martin is here, says, good evening all. Hope you're all well. I'm doing very well. Thank you, Martin. Welcome to the show. Joey says, why do they keep putting the tag titles on the Judgment Day? Because Judgment Day are big names and they are safe. Keenan says, I was really impressed with Bo Dallas's promo. The Horror King says, are we going to see the Wyatt Sicks tonight, Tom? More on that shortly. I will not be answering that question, though, as I don't have that information. John says, I'm sorry, I meant to say when Alexa Bliss is coming back. The WWE have not set a date because they don't want to rush someone back from pregnancy. Martin, thank you kindly. A very generous donation. Says, best of luck for the move. Many happy memories in there. Smash that like. Thank you, Martin. I can see as well you've said to drop a W or the fire emoji in the chat. I do appreciate that. That does help the growth of the channel. It's a little way that you can really boost the chat rate. This is not an anti-spam area. Okay? Spam, while it can be egregious, does help boost the chat rate of this channel. Now, if it does become a problem if I can't really read the questions, I'll let you know. But a little burst of something is not a bad thing to bring people to the channel. It's just that once people get to the channel and get to the video, if they see that wall of W, they might switch off. So a quick, short burst every now and then is a wonderful thing to do. Thank you very much, Martin. Please do remember to hit like on Martin's donation. Velocity says, did you like the Bo Dallas vignette? Yes, I did. It really shows how different this is to everything that's come before from Bray Wyatt. Roger, I don't regularly watch TNA. DM says, if Solo versus Cody happens at SummerSlam, Punk versus Drew should main event unless Roman is returning in that match. I think you've answered your own question there, mate. Chris says, Io Sky is the only member of Damage Control winning matches lately. Yeah, she's a serious one. She's the one that they take seriously. David says, will Julia still make an appearance at Heatwave? More on that later. Spider-Boss says, doing media today, Mercedes Money was asked about why she left WWE. I wish the media stopped asking Mercedes about why she left WWE. Thing is, mate, you saw that. So clearly, something went right. Sid says, will you be watching TNA Slammiversary, the biggest night in TNA? No. Bad vs. Boys says, Tom, please clear this Alexa joining Wyatt Sicks or not. I am the only person to have shared any information about Alexa Bliss and the Wyatt Sicks. All of that information is still here. Joey says, is Julie going to be out longer than expected since she's not wrestling Heatwave? More on that later. Dylan says, say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. And yet he's not. Martin says, the Bo Dallas Uncle Howdy interview was outstanding. Spider-Boss says, Judgment Day was big when Rhea was on TV. Now not every fan is a fan of the Judgment Day. Not every fan is a fan of anyone. King Azza says, Tom, do you see Randy turning on Cody at Money in the Bank? Nope. One says, look out for the trolls, guys. Tom will get rid of them. I mean, Sally's here for a reason. Michael says, do you know if Athena is really injured or is it all kayfabe? I don't have that information at this point in time. I don't have information from anyone when it comes to medical in AEW. Dylan said, did you hear the reason Pat McAfee wasn't on Raw this week is because his father-in-law passed away? Yes, I did, unfortunately. Thank you, Sid. Appreciate you. Sean says, do you have any more information on WWE merchandise collaboration with Manchester City? I know Becky, Stone Cold, Roman and CM Punk were mentioned in it. If that's not an indication that Becky is staying, I don't know what is. I don't have more information at this point in time. It is essentially just an opportunity to use the stadium. So there's a bit more information that you may enjoy. Manchester City, very good at making as much money as possible and paying as little tax as possible. I mean, to be clear, tax avoidance, not tax evasion. Different thing. One of them is legal. And it certainly would be a very good system for them if big WWE shows, instead of happening at Wembley, happened up at the, I believe it's the Etihad it's called. Joey says, is Uncle Howdy supposed to be the alter ego of Bo Dallas? No. More on that shortly. Velocity says, do you think it's a little too early for Zilla Fatu or no? Yes, because Zilla Fatu is not there. Backwards says, congratulations on a new house, man. Such hard worker in your family, and you deserve all the happiness in your future. Thank you, Backwards. I appreciate you for that. It's a very generous thing to say. Struggers, that is a leak. One of many reasons I'm leaving this house. DM says, Tony Khan really lost any touch he had to lead AEW. Needs some help. He's got help, as I've previously exclusively reported. He is building right now, as we speak, a brand new creative team. Thank you, Sid, for the update. The Horror King says, do you think we get the therapist interview like promos with the rest of the Wyatt Sicks? Not sure yet. More on that shortly. Noob says, I really enjoyed the Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy interaction on Monday. Same. Azar, more on that shortly. Martin says, I'll be doing a stream on it next week. Tom wants to get some more info on it. And you marked out. Fair enough. Let me know if you want me on for that one, because I do suspect it's a nice crossover. Chris says, I still see Randy turning on Cody Rhodes eventually, but not at Money in the Bank. The story at the moment is not about Randy Orton, it's about Solo Sikoa. DM says, I hope Swerve is not a transitional champion, just have MJF versus Ospreay for the title at All In. Spider-Boss says, congratulations to Mami Rhea and Buddy Matthews. Daniel says, hey everyone, happy Friday. Zane says the WWE will get more fans than Man City does at Etihad Stadium. Yes, because they can go onto the pitch. That's a fact. Man says, if you get any info from WWE side, it'd be great to hear, mate. I will get the City side, and we will work on that. We'll make it happen. Michael says, I guess I don't really get why Bo would already be revealed as Uncle Howdy if it's supposed to be some mythical character, because it's not supposed to be some mythical character. That interview immediately dispelled any possibility that that is a mysterious mythical character, because it isn't. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still plenty to share, and I'm about to start sharing it, but the actual mythical side, like Good Mythical Morning, but it is not going to be happening. Ricky says, hey Tom buddy, happy Friday. Hope you had a good weekend. Do you see Roman still making it to SummerSlam? I cannot answer that question. The WWE will happily rewrite things for that situation. Right, so 16 minutes in, we can talk about the Wyatt Sicks. We have 116 people watching, 58 likes, so more. 2 more, by the way, gets us to 60, which is a lovely round number. So please do consider keeping that train rolling. Now, in what way have I said Bo isn't Uncle Howdy? What are you reading? Sean, I've said this a lot of times now. There is no rush on Alexa Bliss. They've penciled in SummerSlam. Pencil can be rubbed out. And Spider-Boss says Liv Morgan's revenge tour originally about defeating Rhea, and winning the Women's World title. Now Liv's revenge tour changed completely. Yes, because there's no one to get revenge on. She succeeded. Of course it changes completely. It's built around someone who's not there. Wyatt Sicks. Uncle Howdy is the least important member of the Wyatt Sicks. Tell you what I forgot to say. Carl Harper, thank you very kindly for subscribing on the YouTube side. If this is your first show and you've not subscribed yet, please consider doing so. We do this twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. Uncle Howdy is considered the least important member of the Wyatt Sicks, and that is intentional. The role of Bo Dallas is as leader and facilitator, but this is not another version of the Bloodline. It is not built around one primary character. Bo Dallas is instead the orchestrator and the man with the voice, hence ensuring that his mouth is visible in the new incarnation, but he is intentionally a mouthpiece. There are clear comparisons made to the mouth of Sauron featured in The Lord of the Rings, who had the massive helmet but a very visible mouth. We are supposed to be focused on the mouth because Uncle Howdy is there to be the mouthpiece in a way that he wasn't under the Bray Wyatt iteration of the story. The Uncle Howdy character went through several different mask options before settling, and he has a number of others available, but they're all very similar. He is going to be the most emotional character, and as such, you need to see the many range of emotions that he has. The story will largely, at first, in phase 1, be told from the point of view of Uncle Howdy. It is a story about grief. It is a story about loss, and that makes him incredibly relatable. Incredibly relatable. So, the role for Uncle Howdy is as the facilitator and the mouthpiece. Over time, we'll be further introduced to him and get to know him a little better. He is not going to play the role of Bray Wyatt. That is not the plan. And in many ways, the intention of the piece where he was interviewing himself was with that in mind. He was making it clear. And yes, it's very easy, Horror King, to be non-supernatural and interview yourself. It's called a recording, basically. So it was intentionally a piece of camera trickery. It was intentionally on the nose. It was intended to be obvious what they were doing. They're not trying to hide their intentions. Or Uncle Howdy isn't, and I need to make that clear. The Uncle Howdy character in general will be very on the nose. He will be very clear with his intentions. He will state what he's going for. There will still be the usual trickery and puzzles and the like, but Uncle Howdy himself will eventually answer the question for you, at least in phase 1. I'm aware of at the moment at least 3 phases, okay? At least 3 phases. Phase 1 is the Uncle Howdy phase, okay? Now, as I previously mentioned, a lot of what I'm going to be saying is outright spoilers, okay? I've been speaking to people backstage. I've been speaking to people involved in the creative. I've also involved a lot of my own interpretation based on what Bray Wyatt would put together and the stories that Bray Wyatt did put together, plus the interview with Sam Roberts after Elimination Chamber 2017, which told me a lot about Bray Wyatt's intentions. There are going to be spoilers here. If you don't want them, try and keep your distance. Dane says, do you get any downvotes on the stream? Not that I see. They're not visible. DM says, just rewatched Triple H and CM Punk feud in 2011. Can't believe how much Punk was allowed to cross the line. Even rejected Stephanie's handshake, telling her, I know where your hand's been. He was allowed to basically ad-lib. He made the company a lot of money. Vince McMahon was a big fan. Denisha, welcome to the show. Joey says, if Bo Dallas wrestles, will he do it under the Uncle Howdy costume or as his own persona? Eventually, both. Eventually, both. DM says, if Seth does not win the title, what direction do you see him on at SummerSlam? Will he enter the Punk-McIntyre feud? No. Dane said, did you know Lucha Brothers' sister is Taya Valkyrie? Taya Valkyrie? No. Spider-Boss says, any plans for the WWE Tag Team titles? Yes, but Triple H keeps forgetting them. Eric says, so the Wyatt Sicks are basically WWE's MCU. No, but there are definitely some comparisons. Definitely some comparisons to make, particularly to WandaVision. So be aware of that one. The comparison to WandaVision will eventually become clear. DM says, could Shane McMahon save AEW if he joined the promotion? It doesn't need saving. There's nothing wrong with AEW. It's just not as watched as WWE. There's nothing wrong with AEW. It's just different to what you watch already. Next up, Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross has the most important job in Phase 1. She will be the focal point for that first phase of the story. She is the herald. Wherever Nikki goes, the Wyatt Sicks go. Essentially, she's a scout. Her story will eventually unravel. She's going to be one of the most interesting characters to get to know. But essentially, it comes down to an incarnation of Sister Abigail, but not Sister Abigail herself. It is Abby the Witch. Sister Abigail as Bray Wyatt saw her when he couldn't let her go. It is a tribute act, but not the real thing. It's like Death Clock, but the tribute act instead of the actual Death Clock. Just featuring the members of Death Clock. Nikki Cross will also many times appear in the background. Traditionally, that's true of Nikki Cross in general. Watch where she appears because it will be very telling of what's going to happen next. She's also, of course, going to be the one making appearances and scaring people. She's a horror element. She's the creeper element. She is also the stalker element. We are going back in time to the Nikki Cross who knew what happened to Aleister Black. That is this version of the character. Cross has apparently had the second most masks made for her after Howdy himself. Because only Uncle Howdy himself has a mask that really shows the emotions, Nikki Cross had a number of different masks made that show the emotion for her, that essentially allow her to be happy, to be sad, and to see, hear, and smell no evil. That is also part of the overall character. She will not be too physically involved in anything, and the Wyatt Sicks are not intending to work with any women in general, outside of Nikki Cross and potentially Alexa Bliss, but Nikki Cross is there to be the first step, the sign of things to come, the harbinger of doom. That is going to be key to everything that she does. Until the next phase, she will be the second most expressive and the second most emotional. In fact, after Nikki Cross and Uncle Howdy, you're not going to see a lot of emotion at all. Joey says, do you know if TK has any interest in Shane? Yeah, but only for the lulz. Marlon says, WandaVision was outstanding, slow burner, but amazing Coven of Agatha out later this year. Sorry, way off topic. It's not off topic. I brought that topic up. And this is influencing the Wyatt Sicks. Bo Dallas has taken influence from a lot of different areas. Zane says, I want to see Bo leave Bo Dallas or the B team back. You will not get your wish. Chris says, Nikki Cross is the only member of Wyatt Sicks that scares me. She's supposed to be. Though give it time and watch the pig. Eric says, Death Clock rules. Damn right. Noob says, Nikki Cross is going to be the Herald. What are the other roles of Wyatt Sicks going to play? Well, I've told you about two of them so far. Told you about two of them. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I am planning to go through the rest. I just need to catch up with the chat as we go. Mike says, so was the Nikki mask on Raw this week different from the debut mask? Yes, it was. There are a number of different masks that have been made. A number of different masks that have been made to really fit the bill of each individual character and allow different expressions with different individuals. There is only one character who's being, shall we say, hidden. DM, that is your opinion. The Wyatt Sicks have not really gotten started yet, so I will wait for them to actually have a story before I say whether it was bad or not. At the moment, yes, Martin, though I know Triple H in general. If something works, we'll go both sides anyway. The man likes to play both sides. A little AC/DC. Roger says, do you watch NWA? Nope. Joey says, do you see Eric Rowan talking since he's playing Rambling Rabbit? Rambling Rabbit will be the next thing I'm talking about. Danny says, hello Tom, Liv made Finn and JD new tag team champions. It's almost like Finn Balor is getting some real big victories here. Spider-Ball says, it's amazing that the women's tag team titles have been more featured on TV than the tag team titles on both brands. Yep, because they are the secondary championship in the women's division. You're not late, Rob and Dave, you arrive whenever the hell you want to. Sai says, I'm only watching WWE on YouTube at the moment, so I'm not clear. Are we not meant to know that's Nikki Cross? How have they explained her transformation? They haven't explained her transformation, but they're not hiding who people are. They're not hiding it. They know that the information is out there. They know that it's being shared. They know that people know, so they're not hiding it. The Nikki Cross thing, as you know, was revealed here quite a while back. We knew what she was going to be. We knew what she was going to do. And I've been ramping it up, as you know, making it very clear. Hey, Nikki Cross was in Glasgow, met up with WWE. Nikki Cross is debuting. I also said, and I quote, you'll see her first. Mike says, I can't wait for that hidden character. Has to be that figure in the static, even flash during their debut along with their logo backstage. To be clear, Mike, that's actually not who I'm referring to. Michael says, I think the WWE production truck has a last VHS in America. I do think that was clever. I did enjoy that. It's a little bit tongue-in-cheek and just a little bit fun. Roger, Triple H, to my knowledge, is not a West Ham fan, but Triple H's PR team are West Ham fans. DM says, to be honest, I'm sick of KO losing in PLEs. Yeah, unfortunately, he's not really had the rub of the green, has he? Pete, welcome. Does anyone else like the Tommaso Ciampa skits of RKOing Randy? They are brilliant. That is an individual trying to get himself over with the help of Randy Orton. Randy Orton is Tommaso Ciampa's biggest fan. We currently have 135 people watching and 68 likes. 2 more gets us to 70. Can you give me 2 more likes to get us over the line? Ricky says, when Bliss comes back, is she still doing her new gimmick in honor of Bray? It depends when she comes back. That is the intention. Her gear that has been made and commissioned is covering a tribute for Bray Wyatt. Dylan says, do you see the Wyatt Sicks costing Chad Gable the money in the bank? It's hard to say. I mean, there's Wyatt Sicks in play, but I do believe he was removed from the qualifier. Did he go back in? I've got to be honest with you guys, I haven't watched Raw this week yet. I've watched bits of it, but I haven't watched the full thing, and I can't remember. I've got a house. That's what my priority is. Horror King says, I feel like Joe Gacy would kill this. Roger says, when is the Cherry Coke making a return? When it can. I am real poor right now, guys. I just bought a house. Robin Dave says, do you think anyone will show up for the Bloodline segment tonight? Yes. The Bloodline. DM says, WWE teasing Dean Ambrose a lot in their new channel. This is interesting. No, they're not. There is no tease whatsoever for Dean Ambrose. None whatsoever. They're making money from the man. There's no tease. None at all. Danny says, do you see Tiffany qualifying for the Women's Money in the Bank? She's one of the favourites to win, so yes. Fireball says, I see Rhea Ripley winning back the women's world title once she returns. Joey says, do you see Dragon Lee ever getting a push? Forever is a very long time. Eric says, I love that the Bo Dallas Uncle Howdy did the interview with the shadowy backdrop of the Firefly Funhouse. Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate that. I'm just not fully kept up right now. I'm trying my best, but I'm sharing what I can based on the information that I have. Next up. Eric Rowan, or Rambling Rabbit, is a code. A code for a certain aimlessness that came with certain individuals and their time with WWE. Rambling Rabbit was essentially made as a tribute to the old Wyatt family gimmick when they lost their way. And Rambling Rabbit, not only as Eric Rowan, is a character that was designed to lose their way. It is a character who isn't fully there, who is a little bit nervous and a little bit afraid, and as such lashes out. Rambling Rabbit was brought in to be an anchor, and that is why Eric Rowan was the perfect man for it. To be steady, to be stoic, and also a true powerhouse, hence of course the hammer. Rambling Rabbit will play into Eric Rowan's history, but will also be as a proxy to Luke Harper. And thus Luke Harper will also be represented heavily in this overall incarnation of the Wyatt Sicks. Again, hence the hammer. Expect a mix of the Bludgeon Brothers version of Eric Rowan, but also Sami Zayn's Bloodline's Solo Sikoa. He is unlikely to be given spotlight. He will instead largely be in the background, notable only by, sheer size. He is not going to be a forefront character. He will be vicious, he will be brutal, but he will not be key to the overall plan until he goes missing. If at any point he goes missing, keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. Because Rambling Rabbit is not fully behind the operation. Juan says, would Shane McMahon be good for AEW's creative team? No. Red says, all I say is the costume is lovely. They are very good outfits. Noob says, will the Bloodline honour Seeker in the Bloodline ceremony tonight? If they choose to. It is not something that the WWE are going to choose to do. The individuals in the ring will make the choice. Horror King, you know full well that I am right now getting to that exact information. Sean says, I'd like to see Indy and Candice qualify for Money in the Bank. Could be fun. Dylan says, who do you see winning the men's money in the Bank? I see Jay, he's a favourite to win. Well, you've answered your own question there, haven't you? Roger says, Eric Young said he's not happy in WWE when he returned for the second time. Loves being back in TNA because he gets on TV and TNA. Yet there was no intention to ever have him in front of cameras again in the WWE. Retro says, do you have any information regarding the figure in the static that keeps appearing in Wyatt Sicks videos? Doesn't match any of the members so far. Correct. As I reported right after their debut, the Wyatt Sicks is incomplete. Next up, Mercy. I had a direct line fed to me on this one that I'm going to share. Mercy leads the way and picks the carcass. Dexter Lumis' experience as a stalker character, silent but deadly, like a fart, is perfect for the role and gives him the level of experience required to pop up in the right moments. Mercy, however, will not be in hiding all that much. Mercy has nothing to hide. He will position himself somewhat separately from the Wyatt Sicks, but in reality will be amongst the most loyal as long as the buzzard is regularly fed. Mercy will tease a wildcard role without actually having one. You see, this is the one who wants to do the damage. He's the one who's quote-unquote difficult to control. He will be shown as amongst their most dangerous from the off, but he is all in as long as he gets to get revenge on the people he wants to get revenge on. I do expect a Dexter Lumis and Austin Theory storyline at some point. I also expect a Mercy the Buzzard and Johnny Gargano story at some point. Mercy is likely to be part of the tag team element of the overall characters, possibly alongside Rambling Rabbit. That's what I expect based on the character layout that I've been given. Spider-Bell says, I think that by special appearance on SmackDown during the Bloodline segment, I think people expect the return of Jimmy Uso. Martin says, gotta leave now, Tom. We'll watch back later. Got a guest appearance on a show at 11. Great show. Smash those likes. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate you. 75 likes, 138 people watching. 5 more gets us to 80 if we can. Roger says, I don't know why WWE let Tom Phillips go. He's a great commentator in TNA. Joey says, is Coolio going to be the enforcer for the Bloodline since he's tall? The Bloodline is basically all enforcers at this point. Sid says, who's your all-time favourite commentator? Difficult one. Probably Paul Heyman, if I'm honest. Mike says, do you know if the missing members of the group are new alter egos for group members or are completely new wrestlers? To my knowledge, the concept of alter egos and lots of different versions of the same person is unlikely at this point in time. The WWE are not hiding who's under the masks, so there's no point to really change things around. Danny says, will AEW Forbidden Door be available to watch live in the UK, Tom? Depends on the deal that they make, because deals do need to come back around at some point. Dylan, that was definitely a very good time for commentary. That leaves us with one current member of the Wyatt Sicks. And this is by far the most interesting. I'm going to say one last time. There are spoilers here. Okay? One last time. There are spoilers. Joe Gacy's role will largely fade into the background for now. He is not expected to be a key figure in Phase 1, but that will ramp up as time goes on. He will be quiet. He will not be particularly expressive, and all of his masks at the moment make a point of hiding who he is as much as possible. Though that's not to say that Joe Gacy won't be unveiled at some point. It is a case not of hiding who he is, but hiding what he's doing. It is not, I don't know how to phrase it. It's hiding who he's doing. It's not to keep you out. It's to keep him in. Okay? There's a reason for this. He is not key to the early days of the Wyatt Sicks, but his story would be undercut if he did not feature. You see, Joe Gacy is Bray Wyatt's actual successor. Not Bo Dallas, Joe Gacy. And almost everything that takes place over the next few months will be laying groundwork for the successor to Bray Wyatt to take the throne. Huskus the Pig was a character created by Bray Wyatt, designed to represent Bray Wyatt, or at least all of the negativity that he separated from himself. This is again where I'm leaning into what he openly believed as regards voodoo, that separation of the negative. The name is derived directly from Husky Harris, a previous alter ego of Bray Wyatt himself. The story of Huskus in the Firefly Funhouse was one of self-inflicted pain, disgust, and shame. He is all of those things for Wyatt made flesh, and this is where the spooky supernatural stuff still is in play. Joe Gacy has a very unique role when it comes to this character. In fact, Joe Gacy was cast in this role years ago, and I mean years. Even before the arrival of The Fiend, there's a respect for Joe Gacy from Bray Wyatt, and his removal from NXT was with full confidence that this was coming. Whatever you do, watch the pig. Whatever you do, watch the pig. Sean says, did WWE not have anyone else available to take over Pat since he wasn't there? I was wondering why Wade or Vic or Corey weren't filling in. No one else was available. It was very last second. Eric suggests that Mercy the Buzzard / Dexter Lumis is the sniper of the Wyatt Sicks. Bailey says Michael Cole has a case that he has matched Jim Ross over the course of his WWE career. Sid says, I'm not a fan of spooky characters in wrestling. Ricky says, I did not know Joe Gacy was Bray's successor. Danny says, I think Sami Zayn will lose his Intercontinental Championship to Bron Breakker. Mike says, if you had to guess, how long do you think these phases will last? I think the story goes about as long as Roman's bloodline. Roman's bloodline is currently over, but I think this goes on for at least 2 years. At least. The contracts that Eric Rowan signed, for example, quite long. Uncle Howdy has a mission. And it's a mission for justice. The faction, at least right now, are established as faces, and names such as Chad Gable will be vital to establishing them. The entire reason he became this sort of cartoon supervillain was in building to this. It's also why Jey Uso quite cleverly distanced himself immediately. He wanted to make sure that nobody popular and on the face side was in competition with the Wyatt Sicks. They had to make sure things were separate. However, over time, things will get darker. Things will start a little more tongue-in-cheek, a little more fun, and a little more, hey, I'm interviewing myself. Did you know how he did it? A little bit Hercule in Dragon Ball Z, that sort of thing. It's all mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors. Uncle Howdy is not necessarily dark. But the other elements of the Six will slowly gain more and more influence, and things will get darker as that happens. One of the reasons for the name change to Six, as in S-I-C-K-S, and you can't teach that, is basically the concept that these are circus freaks. These are deranged lunatics. They're not wizards. They're not spooky. But they have a lot going on in their brains. Some of them are crazier than others. Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss are expected to engage with the Wyatt Six, but they will represent the quote-unquote old world. An old world that revolved around a man that is unfortunately no longer with us. Uncle Howdy has a story to tell us. A story of grief and pain, which we can all relate to. Hence why the name Bray Wyatt came up immediately. That's what this story is about. Those that came before are a vital part of that story. But whatever you do, and say it with me guys, whatever you do, watch the pig. Beware the hair. I said it before, it sticks. Watch the pig. The other Mike says that's a huge endorsement for Gacy. Good on him. Spider-Boss says Joe Gacy gave me Bray Wyatt vibes during his NXT days and is stable. Joey says, do you see Braun Strowman being an early feud for the Wyatt Six since he has history with Bray? I believe I've just answered that one. Sid says, will you ever do a meet and greet with fans in the future? I really don't have that many fans, mate. Like, I'd need a level of ego that I do not possess in order to do something like that. But if, for example, I'm going to a wrestling show, I'll say, hey, I'm going to be at this pub. Come say hi. It's not a meet and greet. I'm not going to sign things. That's, again, ego. But if you want to come along and have a drink with me, you're more than welcome to. That's what I like to see, guys. Lots of watch the pig. Sai says, lockdown and empty arenas gave them the opportunity for the hocus pocus. They can't do magic appearances and people bursting into flames now, so I'm hoping they're not tempted to try. Lots of watch the pigs in there. It's McCade says, hi Tom, sorry I'm late, but I hope you're okay. How are you? Doing very well, thank you. It's McCade. If you've just joined us and you've seen a lot of people saying watch for the pig, I'd imagine you're going to be nervous. Michael, beautifully done. Beautifully done. Red says, did you know the last time you seen Alexa Bliss, she had the nightingale on her head? Interesting. Bailey says, watch Nikki. Watch Liv. Sid said, is WWE interested in using any other TNA wrestlers that they haven't already used? Yes. Don't know what else to really say on that one. The answer is very firmly yes. So, we have more news to come. If you want to get more about the Wyatt Six, that is, of course, laced through the entire show. Firstly, How are you feeling about that news? There is a lot in there, and I feel very happy with the amount that I was able to get and the amount that I've been able to share. And don't get me wrong, this is an evolving story. Things will change, things will develop. But that is a huge amount of information, I feel, that you can't get anywhere else. And I hope, from my angle, it's worth a like, it's worth your subscription, it's worth a donation if that's something you choose to do. Honestly, that's the most news I've had on any topic for quite a while now. And it's just fun. This one sounds fun. It's McKay says, not too sure what Watch for the Pig means, but I'm here for it. Also glad you're okay. Hope the house moving goes smoothly. David says, love the news. Thank you, David. Wants to say, Tom, with AEW not being able to sell tickets unless a pay-per-view, does it affect them long-term quality-wise? They can sell tickets, just not as many as WWE. Mike says, so much to take in, and we still have those missing members and huge plot points to hit for all the characters. Bailey says, you may want to cut much of the Wyatt Sicks content into shorts. It's a good idea if I had the time to do that. I need an editor. Mike says, so excited, wish they could drop info every single day. Eric says, Huskers the Pig is the wild card of the Wyatt Sicks. Spider-Boss says, do you see Ospreay winning a Forbidden Door? Yeah, pretty much. Danny says, I think Finn will fall for Liv Morgan after she helped him and JD become tag team champions. Ricky says, thank you, Tom Buddy. I'm happy with the news. Sid says, I hope WWE use TNA Cody Deaner. The people try. I don't really understand what you're going with there, Sid. I don't regularly watch it. We have just hit 81 likes and 149 viewers. You may notice, guys, that viewer number's been going up and up and up. And so have the likes. Before we get to the rest of the news, a quick update. Yesterday it became official. I have bought a house. What that means is over the course of the next 2 weeks or so, I'm going to basically be destroying a back garden, scraping a whole load of paint and wallpaper off walls, and trying to get rid of that weird smell of cats. It's going to be a mission and a half, but it's going to take up a lot of my time. We will still be doing spoiler warning until the birthday show, July 8th, which will be the Monday after next. After that, I will take a couple of weeks break. Okay? I will definitely be back in time for August. So it will at most be 3 weeks of July. At most. Okay? I just need to get the internet over to the new house. That's the priority, because in 2 weeks, I don't live here. And as such, there's work to be done. I'll be updating you as regularly as I can as to what the situation is. Make sure you're in the Discord. Make sure you're following on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it, for more information as it comes through. There will be a bit of an office tour and an office development as things go through. I will, of course, be introducing you to the office as soon as I can. That will be in the members only section. Once I'm in, we will go back to our previous schedule. 2 episodes of spoiler warning, a PLE Wednesday, and a WTF Wrestling every single week. Thank you very much, everyone, for the continued support there. KJ says, did Meltzer wake up angry today, or did he? Did he not get his check from AEW today? Every article from him that I read today was pure burial. Said Khan lied about TV negotiations going well and more can't fit. The other Mike says, will the Wyatt Sicks be in any championship feuds? I don't think they need to, by the way. Not yet. So he says, good luck with your house move. Hope it goes well. Me too. KJ says, you said clear the air of cat. Have some suggestions for you as my cat didn't know how to use a kitty box. Use vinegar. Vinegar? Interesting. Interesting. That sounds good. Bit of vinegar, bit of water in a little spray. Can make that work. Good call. Red says SmackDown will not let us in. Matty said, damn it, Tom, it's on my head now. Watch the pig. Watch the pig. I'm trying to save you. Chris says, tonight SmackDown is Kayla Braxton's last time in WWE. Sid says, do you watch the UK and US Office TV show? Watch the US one. I have watched the UK one. It's not fun. Dad says, I'm just glad it's happening under Triple H instead of Vince. Sean says, when you get into the new house, will the watch parties come back? Maybe. The watch parties will be something that only really happens when I can go full time and when I can justify it. If we're getting 20 people and over the course of 3 hours I make $2, it's not worth being awake until 4 in the morning. It's just not. Michael says, who do you think the wild card in the Owen tournament? I think it's Hangman. That's where I would lean as well, to be honest. Though Moxley could also be a good shout. He's due back soon. Horror King says, do you know what Bliss's role is in the Wyatt Sicks? I've shared every information that I've got. Backwards says, I hope it's not too stressful of a move for you guys. I moved last summer and it was interesting. I'm going to be incredibly poor for the next 2 months. Like, incredibly. Poorer than I've been in the last 2 years. It's going to be tricky. Thankfully, these donations are genuinely helping, and I'm going to be using them to feed myself. So thank you once again to anyone who's a channel member, anyone who makes a donation, anyone who's here watching right now and has watched an ad. Thank you very kindly for it. At the end, stick around. I'll click the ad button a couple of times. And literally, if you're just still in the room, that makes money. If there's 100 of you at the end and you stay for an extra 10 seconds, I click the button, get an ad, there's an extra $1.50. Stuff like that. Now, that's not exact, but you get what I mean. Oh, pig emoji's one. I like it. Sam says, what is next for Seth if he loses? Moving on. I mean, he would just move on from the championship for a bit. He has other stories. Spiderboss says, Liv Morgan already has what Rhea cares about, aka the women's world title. The storyline with Dom doesn't make any sense. She does care about Dominic, mate. Calm down. Michael says, how can it be possible that Andrew Zarian and Meltzer have such different information working for the Observer? Zarian says over and over how well the AEW Warner Brothers Discovery negotiations are. Andrew Zarian is freelance, and I don't think he actually works directly with Meltzer. In fact, the two have contradicted each other on the Observer a lot in the past. Noted. Danny says, best of luck, Tom. Sure it'll be fully worth it. My friend, delighted for you and the new home. Yeah, there's a lot of work going to be involved. It's going to be nerve-wracking and it's going to be incredibly expensive over time. I need to make sure the girls are looked after first and foremost. I can say at this point, now that it's all out there, what I've not been saying, which makes the situation a whole lot worse, and I won't go into too much detail, but in early June, my partner and the mother of my 2 children, stepchildren, I should point out at this point, it's relevant, received an eviction notice, a no-fault eviction notice, and was essentially told in 2 months, you're out the house. There is no conversation, there is no negotiation, there is no nothing. They're out the house. We were planning to take the next 6 months or so, do up the house, do up the girls' bedrooms, so they could move into at least a semi-finished state, ready to decorate. That is no longer possible. It's disappointing to put that much effort into being a provider and then be told, okay, well, you failed. Basically. Mike says, were all the vignettes of Wyatt Sicks filmed like Bo's promo, or do you think they'll all be very different? They'll all be very different. Backwards says, I'm happy Seth returned and he's healthy, but in my opinion he returned too early. I think he needs to be off TV for a little longer. He's not 100%. Bit more news then. There was and is no plan in place to change the name of Jacob Fatu. Caesar Sikoa, not a reference to Jacob Fatu. Unrelated in the highest degree. Maintaining his current character was actually agreed before he signed his contract. Before he signed the deal, he was assured he would continue as Jacob Fatu. So yeah, he ain't changing. Dylan says, sorry to hear, Tom. Hope all goes well for you and your family. It will. It will. I am going to make sure it does. Okay? There is no possibility that I'm letting them go homeless. It's not going to happen. In many ways, there is no better time for something like that to happen because I've already got the house. We have about a month to move everything in, And that's not going to be easy. But, you know, I will make sure they're okay. Spider-Boss says, who do you see as Bayley's next opponent? Nia Jax. Nia Jax. Thank you, N5. Appreciate you. Red. They don't, actually. It's a no-fault eviction. Here in the UK, they can just kick you out. They don't even have to acknowledge you. KJ says, I know ratings aren't everything like some make it seem, but in their final year, better known as the contract year, you'd think AEW would have to get better numbers to convince Warner Brothers to pay more. More on that shortly. Triple H recently mentioned Becky Lynch as regards some of the plans that they are putting together. There is a reason that he's mentioning Becky Lynch, particularly as regards the UK deal. Because the deal is already struck, as I previously reported, between Lynch and the WWE, and it will activate upon her return. Becky Lynch is still going to be a member of the WWE universe. Wow, sorry to hear that, Spider-Boss. Sorry to hear that. That is rough. Appreciate that, Denisha. It's every now and then I just have to let myself feel the bad feelings in order to control them a bit. It's been a difficult time. A very difficult time. But I'm a provider and I'm a stepdad now. And my kids will not go wanting. I've been there. I've been there. To the point that when I moved into this house, I moved within 3 days. Because I'm just used to it. I'm excited. Gonna get a house. Gonna get a house. Sean, more on that very shortly. It's about the next piece. Hector says, hey Tom, out of curiosity, is WWE's new regime more willing to allow talent to keep their old names, or are there situations where they'd want to change it? That's not actually the new regime. That's Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes changed that one. Julia is still suffering with a wrist injury and will likely not be wrestling at NXT Heatwave, though she will likely still be making an appearance. She is expected to complete her rehab at Marigold, and her debut will be delayed. Her planned call-up around WrestleMania time is said to still be live and expected. Blair says, Tom, can you believe the Wyatt Sicks chose Whataburger over In-N-Out? I've not tried either of them. But Shane Top wants me to buy him In-N-Out, and I'm going to do it. Spider-Boss says, do you think the Liv versus Rhea rivalry will be long-term? Yes, because it's actively happening now. It was originally going to be kind of a one and done, but in reality, it's 3 years. No, Joey, it's still coming. It is now. Natalia's WWE contract has now expired, or at least sources are telling me that. WWE is said to have offered an insulting amount due to a complete lack of interest in securing Natalia's signature, but they did make an offer, and they don't believe she'll see a higher offer elsewhere. All in all, I'm told the process for contracts has recently become very undignified. Dominik Dijakovic, as we know, has also left the company. As I mentioned previously, there was no intention to push him until he signed a contract, and those above Triple H saw cost with no benefit. Triple H wanted to keep Dijak. He had plans for Dijak, and he was essentially told, no, we're not using him, he's leaving. I don't know what happened to piss off Nick Khan, but he wasn't happy with this one. Natalya and Ricochet both still have contract offers on the table, but they are not considered to be positive, and as I've mentioned, they are considered a little insulting. Aaron, indeed. I'm dropping a lot of references today with that Def Clock, that Shane from iCarly. These jokes aren't for everyone, but for the people who get it, they get it. Like, I'm playing Digimon as we speak. Just throwing it out there. We need a new Digimon world. I make those references all the time. It's a big Tamagotchi. Moxie says, yo Tom, I acknowledge you as the tribal chief of the IWC. Represent. Spider-Boss says Natalya erased WWE from her social media accounts. KJ says, Tom, you're definitely not a failure. I know this may not mean much, but look how far you came on YouTube. Anything you put in mind to, you'll get it done. Great person and better stepdad. Thank you, KJ. I appreciate you for saying that. I do take a lot of credit, give it to myself, for the fact that I saw a house I wanted, walked into the estate agent and said, "Hi, give me it." And then I got it. I booked 2 weeks off, this last week and next week, in April, because I thought to myself, there won't be any delays, I'll just go do it. So I went and did it. And now here we are. It all just worked. And I feel very lucky. Blair says, how long do you think Uncle Howdy will stick around? His contract is for at least the next 2 years. Roger says, have you tried McDonald's the hat-trick burger? I have not. I'm not a big McDonald's guy. Not a big McDonald's guy, though. I like them McSpicy. An announcement on the AEW TV deal is imminent. Tony Khan is said to be at best disappointed. His negotiating tactics of building up what he's going to get did not work for him. And in fact, there are many accusations of him lying outright. This is not just from Dave Meltzer. This is genuinely from people backstage in WWE who expected a much better deal. It is said to be disappointing, but it does keep them in business and allow them to continue their growth. There is work still to do, but AEW are, after all, still in their infancy, and considering that, they're doing mighty well. Spider-Boss says you might be the longest reigning IWC News or Universal Heavyweight Champion. All your reports have been correct for, I think, years now. No one's 100%. No one. Spider-Boss says, who do you see as the next opponent for the Judgment Day? I'd imagine there's going to be a few more tag team feuds now, but I see the split up happening now. I really do. One says, Mercedes Money today said she'd like to see Natalya in AEW. Does AEW even benefit from her potentially? Yeah, experience. A lot of experience. Hector says, I like Dijak's work, but he's not that young, and if him leaving puts younger talent in the position to succeed, I'm all in favour because I think Dijak will be fine post-WWE. There are a number of other people in the WWE that Nick Khan will not renew the contract of. Quietly, they'll go away. Michael says, quite rightly, Dynamite will be on for longer than Nitro. Moxie says, not going to lie, Tom, I made a YouTube channel. It's a gaming channel, and I was wondering if you could help me with it because you low-key inspired me. Absolutely, Moxie. Absolutely. If you can, not here, if you can on the Discord, drop a link to the channel in the promotion section and tag me. I will come and have a look and see if I can give you any tips. Spider-Boss says Natalya would be a good coach on the AEW women's division. It's a pretty good women's division now, I've got to say. Things have changed. Joey says, do you see New Catch Republic being contenders for the tag titles? God, I hope not. Joey, I do not have that information. I wish I did, but I do not. We have been live for 1 hour and 3 minutes, and we are going to wrap it up there. We've had 90 likes, and we peaked at a really high number of 146 viewers. That is one hell of a number. Please do stick around for a couple of seconds, just until the ad goes live. It will be a big help to me. But until then, we'll be back live on Monday, hopefully with plenty more news to share. I've been Tom Colohue. You have been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.